But what I'm asking you is, excuse me, why is first and last impression, why are first and last impression important?
Grabbing the attention.
Absolutely. Grabbing the attention and then carrying them along right till the end. Why? In the first 5 minutes, your participant is going to decide whether he wants to learn this or not. You agree with me?
Yes.
Or whether this trainer is capable of teaching me this or not. Right? They will decide in the first 5 minutes, and the rest of the time, as per that decision, they will continue. So you have to have a very strong, impactful beginning of your training. How we do that, I'll tell tomorrow when I say how to introduce a training session, I will tell you. Needless to say that you have to have initially a very strong. And why end last impression?
Last impression is I have learnt.
How much have you
Yes, ma'am?
learned? How much have you learned?
How much have you learned? But what is the importance of the last impression?
So that more participation can come from
Next time?
Motivate, motivate.
Motivated like positive.
See, you see, there is something called the principle of recency. There are two principles: principles of primacy and principles of recency. So, what is he going to remember the most about the workshop is last part, the most recent part. Yeah, hangover. Yeah. So, what happens? You have had a very good start, and you have a 3-day workshop. But by the time the 3rd day comes, you are also not interested, they are also not interested. So even if the first 2 days have been very nice, what they will go away with is, theek tha, okay. So the tempo, the momentum has to be maintained right to the end. Okay. Practice and reinforcement. Ma'am just said that what I hear, I remember. What was that, ma'am? What I hear, I forget. Huh?
We hear, we forget.
Right.
We see,
Right.
we remember, we do, we understand.
Absolutely. So, practice everything that you can, like what we are going to do, whatever we are saying here, you will come and give a presentation. So, at least you will practice some of these things that we are going to talk about. So, when you are practicing, automatically, you are reinforcing whatever you have learnt. Even as children, what did you do? You had to practice doing sums. You kept practicing, kept doing sums, kept doing, various things. When you're playing a game, you keep practicing. So similarly, even when you are teaching a concept, one is teaching the theory and then trying to make them practice that concept if possible, in whichever way, to reinforce it. Feedback, I covered it in the last slide. Why is it important? And learning for application. So whatever is you are covering, make it as much application oriented as possible. How can you directly apply it? Keep that in mind. If you feel when you are reviewing your content, if you feel that this part is not applicable, take it out. Don't put it. Okay. So this was as far as difference between pedagogy and andragogy was concerned, the characteristics of adult learners, and what are the implications of those characteristics to us as trainers. Now, what questions do you have about these aspects?
Trainers should have all the thought. I just remember one slogans I have seen in Madras CIPET, Central Institute of Plastic Engineering and Technology. It is mediocre teachers tells, good teachers explains, best teachers demonstrate, excellent teacher inspires. We must be all excellent.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
is in all topics which I have to deal with. Then
Absolutely.
only I can, even though I have some ego, or having some ego, that ego should be utilized in the positive way and for productive. That last impression, we have to achieve something, our targets. Okay, we have to realize our targets critically.
Absolutely. Now, you may be the most knowledgeable person as a trainer, but if you cannot communicate that knowledge, if you see what use is knowledge if it is not of practical use, right? You must have all heard the story about this boatman and the pandit. You heard? Ma'am, can you please repeat it for someone who's not heard?
उसकी है ना जिसमें बोट में जा रहे हैं
हाँ
mathematician
yes yes. Can you just repeat it?
half life is gone since full life
हाँ
is gone.
हाँ जी हाँ जी हाँ जी हाँ जी.
The teacher or the
Like that.
Learned person
learned person asked the unlearned person whether you
in the boat. They're going in the boat.
about mathematics,
Yeah.
you know addition,
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Then he tells, I don't know anything. And finally he tells the boat is going to sink. Do you know
Swimming. Yeah.
There is a
I
pure
know
full life.
swimming.
Whole life is gone. So knowledge is of no use unless it can be applied. Right? So all these things, therefore, application is very important. You may tell your participant anything, unless you are telling them what they can apply, it is of no use to them. Okay. Now let's talk about learning itself, learning and learning styles. Okay. So let's see what happens what happens when you learn something. How does the process of learning happen? Can anybody tell me? If you want to break it down into steps, how do you learn? Yeah, you've seen the slide now. Okay. Okay. Oops. Okay. Sorry, I missed this. So, creating a comfortable learning environment. Now, what do you understand by creating a comfortable learning environment? Sorry? Acha classroom, very good. What else?
See, audiovisual.
Good audio visual.
Good audio visual,
Silent.
no distractions. No, but you are giving me things that you can do to make environment comfortable, right? But what do you understand by a comfortable learning environment?
If a very strict teacher comes in, he will
Right. So you have to be at ease physically and mentally, right? So we have said it should be comfortable physically, socially, and psycho-emotionally. 3 components of comfortable learning environment. Physical, we are all clear. Good seating arrangements. Now slightly we are uncomfortable because I think it's on generator and the AC is not working. But otherwise, good, climate control, good lighting, good sounds, comfortable seating, not too comfortable also, otherwise you'll go off to sleep. Okay, good refreshments, lunch, tea. So all those things are, as far as physically you are comfortable. Why? Because if you are not comfortable, your mind will not be on learning, right? Whether it is physically, socially, or psycho-emotionally. So the aim is that your participants, there should be nothing which distracts them from learning. Whether it's too hot or too cold, whether there isn't enough light, or there is construction going on in the neighboring and there is a lot of noise, or it's past 3 o'clock, you've not given them a lunch break, they're all feeling hungry. So that you're making them physically comfortable. Once that is out of the way, learning can take place. There is no barrier to learning in that way. Similarly, what do you mean by social and psycho-emotionally comfortable? When I said mentally comfortable, that has 2 components: socially comfortable and psycho-emotionally comfortable.
I have to match the wavelength of the audience. I can't pitch it above or too below.
Absolutely.
Match it perfectly.
Absolutely.
and
So you are
sync with them.
in sync with your audience. What else? What is the difference between socially comfortable and psycho-emotionally comfortable?
making audience like-minded or homogeneous group.
Right. Absolutely. And psycho-emotional?
It's like something should not, there won't be any inferiority or superiority.
Okay. So to put it in a nutshell, your participants are socially comfortable if they are comfortable with each other and with you, and they are psycho-emotionally comfortable if they are comfortable with themselves. Means socially is externally and psycho-emotionally is internally. So they will be socially comfortable when everyone is on the same grid. I'll give you an example. If suppose we are doing this program within an organization and from the MD to the junior most is sitting there in that. So you think those participants will be socially comfortable? No. Because there is a certain hierarchy in that organization and they will always be conscious. The senior person will be conscious that, I shouldn't look like a fool. Suppose the trainer asks me something and I don't know the answer, then what will my juniors think? Whereas the junior person will think that, again, what will my boss think? I should make a fool of myself. And so they will not be socially comfortable. This will be a learning barrier. So as a trainer, you need to remove those barriers. How you do it? That is, there are various ways that, you start off by saying that, look, in the example that I'm giving you in the situation like that, maybe you can first, set the thing that, look, I know that, in this audience, there are very senior people and then there are very junior people, but let's take this as a learning and let's not take this as a, so you have to bring out this thing in the open and make sure that that doesn't act as a barrier. That this is a learning thing, we will accept mistakes, we will not judge anyone by this, whatever form you do, but acknowledge that and remove it as a barrier. So you have made that group socially comfortable. What about psycho-emotionally comfortable? How do you make your participants comfortable from within?
Not targeting individual candidates again and again.
Absolutely.
Knowing that he is not able to answer.
Absolutely. What else?
Acknowledge for a good question or a good suggestion.
Acknowledge them, praise them. What else? I was just saying a little while back, someone gives a wrong answer. You have to be very, very clear not to show that person down, because then next time he or she will not answer the question. So internally, what you are doing is, you are removing that inhibition that that person has from answering or from participating in a discussion. And why are you doing that? We've said that we are learning from each other. So the more that everyone contributes, the more that everyone talks, the greater is the learning. What is it that prevents people from contributing to a discussion? Anybody? Fear? Fear of, inadequate knowledge, or fear of being thought of as having inadequate knowledge? What else? What else could stop people from contributing to discussions? Language problem. It could be a language barrier. So the training is in English. The person is not very fluent in English. So he feels a little shy that, maybe I may speak something wrong. What else?
Lethargy.
Sorry?
Lethargicness.
Laziness, lethargicness, just out of sheer laziness. Yeah. Also, some people are by nature shy, introverts, right? And what is the last reason and which is the worst reason? Not interested. Absolutely. External force, internal force. Internally not interested. Yeah. Why is he not interested?
Maybe we failed to drag his attention.
Yes, because he has not seen the use of this or the applicability of this. Otherwise, he will be interested. First 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. So that is how you make your participants physically, socially, and psycho-emotionally comfortable, so that both you and your participants can concentrate on the subject, rather than worrying about those factors, these factors, which are the barriers. Okay, now let's come to the learning process. Okay, so what happens when we learn? First we perceive some information, right? Then we process that information, and finally we retain that information. So learning process has 3 steps, or 2 steps and 1 outcome. perceiving, processing, and then finally retaining. You all agree with this process? Right? And we perceive in two ways, feeling and thinking. I'll come to those in detail a little later. We perceive in two ways, by feeling and by thinking, and we process in two ways, by doing and by watching. Okay. So if this is the learning process, and you all agree that this is the learning process, any comments about this process? Anybody? Any thoughts? Anyone? Any thoughts? Circumstances? Can you elaborate?
There might be a component
Mm-hmm.
which will change according to the situation.
So the way you perceive it may change, the way you process it may change, right? But the overall the process will remain the same. That first you perceive, then you process, then you